Hey, everybody out there. We're back again on Monday with another episode of the AC Podcast. What an NFL week it was this weekend. Today, on this episode, I'm going to be touching on the latest with Antonio Brown. Hopefully, this is going to be the last time I'm talking about it because I'm tired of talking about it. I'm going to be touching on the Philadelphia Eagles and Steelers, of course. I'm going to be touching on all the divisions, giving you the records, and telling you what I've seen so far from each division, what I think is going to be the ultimate outcomes in each division. Also going to give you my top 5 winners and losers, and then I'm going to close it out with the Monday night game, of course. Redskins and Bears tonight on Monday Night Football should be somewhat of an intriguing matchup. But I want to get to this Antonio Brown stuff because where else will we start but with this drama? I'll just give you my thoughts about it because it's just ridiculous what this man has done over the last 9 months. So he gets cut by the Patriots on Friday. And then Sunday morning, he basically announces on social media, on Twitter, where else would he announce it, that he's quitting football. And after saying he's going to quit football on Twitter, he proceeds to release tweets about Shannon Sharpe and his sexual assault accusations, Ben Roethlisberger and his rape accusations, and Robert Kraft and what he was doing down there in Miami, which is just flat out irresponsible. Antonio Brown has shown his behavior has just been embarrassing. It's been irresponsible. He's just shown he's just very toxic. He's shown a lot of bad traits over these last 9 months. He's shown he's untrustworthy with money, not showing up to work, insubordination, can't be trusted with private calls and text messages between John Gruden and him, and also between Juju Smith-Schuster. And he's just shown he's just not a good teammate. He's definitely not a leader, and it just doesn't make any sense. I mean, what did he hope to gain by posting other people's business on social media yesterday? Just going on a flat out tirade. We get it. Everyone's made mistakes. And he's acting like he's gotten convicted of something. He's acting more guilty than he actually is. There's no facts that have come out about his investigation with the sexual assault between the two girls. Yet and still, he's acting as if the whole world is pitted against him when he hasn't been found guilty of anything. But I can tell you what he is guilty of. He's guilty of sending threatening text messages that aired on the online. And it's just downright embarrassing what he's done. He's tarnishing his image. He's destroyed his image, really. Nothing he does is you can find is really credible at this point. I mean, people have backed him left and right. People backed him when he got out of Pittsburgh. They blamed it on Ben Roethlisberger. And apparently on Juju Smith-Schuster winning team MVP over him. They backed him, and Coach John Gruden backed him in Oakland when he didn't wear the proper footwear inside a cryo chamber. He backed him, even though that's completely Antonio Brown's fault for being irresponsible and walking in sub-freezing temperatures without proper footwear. John Gruden got in an interview and said it wasn't his fault. It was just a freak accident. Backed him over his health grievance that he filed twice. He's the only one out of over 2,000 players in the NFL that feels like he needs to keep his helmet. He can't pick a different helmet. And there's over 20 options. I mean, how many concessions can you make for a guy when he just continues to break you? Steelers broke their back for him numerous times, letting him show up late to meetings and still playing. Facebook Live and stuff. I mean, this is just flat out irresponsible. It's just irresponsible, honestly. And I have a problem with the way Bill Belichick was answering questions, or the fact that he walked out of the post-game presser. Or not the post-game presser, but his weekly scheduled interview with the media on Fridays for the New England Patriots. I have a problem with the way he handled it. Walking out. Because as we all know, Bill Belichick is the mastermind. He is basically the de facto GM of the New England Patriots. And for some reason, you walk out when people are asking you questions about Antonio Brown. When you made the decision to sign this guy, knowing all the baggage that he brings. And on top of that, you give a death stare to a lady who's also asking you questions about him when you had him on your roster. I mean, how are you going to sign a guy, and how are you going to not try to say this isn't football related stuff, but you signed a guy that has non-football related incidents? I mean, this is embarrassing stuff right now. This is not good. Antonio Brown is just, I think this is the best decision he's actually made throughout everything he's done these last 9 months, because he hasn't done anything else. How do you get released from the New England Patriots in 11 days? He making it seem like he got released because he was found guilty of something. He wasn't found guilty. He didn't get released because of that. He got released because, number one, you didn't tell the New England Patriots about this sexual assault thing when they signed you to a $15 million contract, $9 million guaranteed, or $10 million guaranteed. You didn't tell them about it. That's the equivalent of filling out a job application with the portion where they ask you, have you ever been a convicted felon? And you say no, and then later that day you get charged with something. Oh, former accomplice or whatever former criminal gets convicted of stealing out the grocery store or something. Like, come on now. And then on top of that, 2 days before you're supposed to get paid your guaranteed money, you send out threatening text messages to one of your sexual assault accusers who's anonymous and didn't even go public, and isn't even trying to charge you with anything. It's disappointing. I'm trying to figure out where all the people are that said, "Oh, Antonio Brown planned this. He planned this." Y'all think that this man actually planned this? Y'all were giving this man too much credit for this mastermind. Y'all were giving this man way too much credit. We actually thought Antonio Brown schemed this up. If he was smart, he would have stayed in Oakland and got his $30 million guaranteed and not acted a fool. Acting like a clown, a flat out clown. I mean, you just can't make this stuff up. You just can't make it up. Antonio Brown's trademark phrase is business is booming. Well, business ain't booming right now. Business is not booming. Business is about to go bankrupt. You don't have a job? You have a job, but you're expecting to get paid? Guaranteed dollars? How do you mess up $30 million? You got out of Pittsburgh and got what you wanted. You got traded and you got guaranteed money. $30 million. But you want to get paid for not showing up to work, for missing walkthroughs and practices, having conduct detrimental to the team. You know that's in your contract that can void your guarantees. Does Antonio Brown not read? Is his agent not giving him proper information about what it states in his contract? Something doesn't make sense here. Because if business was booming and you were smart, how could you leave $30 million on the table and void all your guarantees by just being insubordinate? And then you post fines, the letter of the fines from the GM, and then you reportedly call him a cracker. And then you ask them to release you via IG, tagging the Raiders organization in it. I mean, this is bad. This is bad. We don't even have any more facts on the sexual assault thing, so there's no need to even touch on that, but this is bad. And he says yesterday on Twitter, oh, the system's rigged against me. You're a black man. When has the system not been rigged against you? You know, as a black man, you have to work twice as hard to get half as much. You've worked your whole life to get to this point. Jeff Darlington did a great interview on you and showed where you come from in Miami. We see your background. We see that you had to work hard as a 6th-round pick to get to where you are today. You're a superstar. You are a superstar in this league. You're the best receiver of this era, of this generation by far. But your actions and your behavior is just not worth the baggage. And I've seen that there's other guys that are less talented that have not gotten as big of a leash as Antonio Brown has gotten. It should say something to other organizations. If someone's thinking about signing Antonio Brown, people should really consider this. Let's just think about this for a moment. The Pittsburgh Steelers and the New England Patriots are two of the most revered and first-class organizations in the entire NFL, and they both said, no, we can't do this. They both walked away. Forget the Oakland Raiders and the fiasco that he did there. 2 elite organizations said no. We don't want this, no matter how talented you are. 2 of them. It's not, you just can't make this stuff up. I don't know who thinks in their mind that they should get paid if they don't show up to work. You don't show up to work, you don't get paid. It's just that simple. Antonio Brown thinks that he's above accountability. He hasn't held himself accountable. Not once have we heard Antonio Brown say, I've done something wrong. This is my fault. I shouldn't have handled it this way. Not once. He's blamed it on everyone else. He's blamed it on Ben Roethlisberger. He's blamed it on the Raiders organization, Mike Mayock and the GM. He's blaming everybody else. At some point, when you keep acting like a clown, your life becomes the circus. Antonio Brown's putting on a red nose, colorful hair like Tekashi 9 snitching behind, big shoes, and going around goofballing it up. There's no other way to slice it. There's no other way to slice it. It's just this is just unacceptable. This is just unacceptable. And I hope he does some soul searching and really finds out like what's going on with him or whatever's wrong with him. I hope he finds some solutions, because he's just destroying his image. And if he thinks he's going to recoup any of that money from the Patriots, Bob Kraft, he's not going to let that happen, especially after you just aired out his business on social media like that. The Patriots are determined not to give you your money. They're determined. You're not gonna get released by a team and then bash them and then expect to get paid. Especially in your contract where it says you have contract detrimental to the team behavior. And you didn't tell them about your sexual assault charges that were ultimately pending before you signed. You caught them off guard. You caught your employer off guard with information that you think that they should know. No one should be condoning this foolishness right now. No one. I don't want to hear anyone else saying, oh, he pulled a power move with the Steelers and all this stuff. This is not good. Business is not booming right now. A businessman would take care of his business, and businessmen would hold themselves accountable. Businessmen would admit when they're wrong. Businessmen would have a better image than what they have right now. Businessmen would be about their money. Antonio Brown hasn't shown that he's about his money. If he was about his money, he would have stayed in Oakland and kept the $30 million that he had. It's just unacceptable. It's just unacceptable, man. It's just unacceptable. It's such a big fall from a drastic fall from grace. I mean, 9 months ago, Antonio Brown was the best receiver in the league, led the league in touchdown catches, and now this is where we are. He's out the league. He's done quit football and been on 3 different teams in the last 9 months. Let's move on. I don't even want to talk about this anymore. I don't even want to talk about it. This is just utterly ridiculous. But what's more utterly ridiculous is what the Philadelphia Eagles are doing. They don't look like Super Bowl contenders right now. They do not look like Super Bowl contenders right now. Lost yesterday, 27-24 to Detroit. Wentz without his top 2 targets again, Alshon and Deshaun Jackson. Dallas Goedert played. Eagles got had the best first quarter start, it seems like, in 10, 12 games. And yet you still lose. You gave up a punt. You gave up a kick return for a touchdown after you scored on your opening possession, a field goal. You get a 100-yard kickoff return to a touchdown. And then Carson Wentz in the game goes 19-36, 259 yards, 2 touchdowns. I mean, his completion percentage wasn't that impressive, but there's a bigger issue that I have to get to. How in God's name do these receivers have 7 drops yesterday? Receivers. Zach Ertz dropped some balls. Nelson Aguilar, he giveth and he taketh away. JJ Arcega-Whiteside, 135 snaps in 3 games, 2 catches for 14 yards. I mean, what is that? What do you call that? Running backs dropping the ball, Miles Sanders fumbling the ball, and then Carson Wentz throws up a beautiful ball to potentially win the game to J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, and he drops it. I mean, Matt Collins dropping balls. I mean, I don't want to hear anything about Carson Wentz not being clutch. I don't want to hear anything about it. And I don't want to hear anything about Nick Foles either. Number one, because he's hurt right now. And number two, because these receivers are dropping the ball. I mean, this is a thin line between 1-2 and 3-0 right now for the Philadelphia Eagles. And this is the third straight time you've lost to Detroit, who is not even a good team. Ain't made the playoffs since like 2012, 2013. Losing to Matthew Stafford. I'm not saying Matthew Stafford's trash, but I don't think of him that highly. He's not the greatest. He's not the greatest player. He's respectable, but come on. 7 drops, I mean, and Dallas Goedert dropped a touchdown pass. I forgot I left his name out too. He dropped a touchdown pass. I mean, these receivers, they're just abominable. It's like, are their hands buttercups? Do they have snake hands? What is this? I mean, Carson Wentz can only do but so much, man. He can only do but so much. I don't see how you can come up clutch when you have Nelson Aguilar dropping a guaranteed touchdown against Atlanta in the fourth quarter that would have put the Eagles ahead. And then we don't know what happens. Atlanta gets a little over a minute left with the ball. But, I mean, come on, man. And then yesterday he puts a ball right on the money for J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, and he just drops it on fourth down. I mean, what can you do if you're Carson Wentz? All you can do is throw the ball. That's all you can do. I mean, the running game looked a little better. Jordan Howard got the running game going. Miles Sanders looked good until he fumbled the ball. I mean, Nelson Aguilar also fumbled the ball. Nelson Aguilar, man, we got to get rid of him. I'm sorry. His hands have never been the greatest. We forget what Nelson Aguilar was before Carson Wentz started throwing him the football. Well, honestly, until Carson Wentz's second year, Nelson Aguilar was nothing to brag about. He was rated the worst receiver of football 2 straight years. His rookie year and his sophomore year. Leading the league in drops. And then his third year, he caught 8 touchdowns and had a good season. But he's not a number 1 receiver. He'll never live up to being a first round draft pick as a receiver. He'll never live up to it. Because his hands just aren't reliable. They're not good. He's got relatively decent speed, but he's not blazing by nobody. He's just too inconsistent. Arcega-Whiteside, we invested a high draft pick in him, not catching the ball. You invest another high draft pick in Miles Sanders, fumbling the ball, dropping the ball. I mean, these are high draft picks. That means you should be ready to go, ready to start, ready to play. And you're dropping the ball? Dallas Goedert dropping the ball? This is unacceptable. According to Pro Football Focus, Carson Wentz had 3 deep balls dropped. Those are big plays being left on the field for a team that's already missing their best deep threat, Deshaun Jackson. I mean, defenses can really just condense the field because the Eagles don't have nobody that can blaze by anybody. Nelson Aguilar is probably your fastest receiver after Deshaun Jackson, and his hands are questionable. Dropping game-winning touchdowns. Arcega-Whiteside's a big physical target. He was going to be a good red zone target, but his hands are questionable too. I mean, you just can't make this stuff up with the Eagles. They don't look like a contending team right now. Dallas is 3-0. They're looking spectacular. I mean, I get they haven't played anybody. Really, they played the 2 worst teams in the I expect the Redskins to be 0-3 by the end of the night. But they played the Redskins and they played the Giants. And they played the Miami Dolphins, who are a trip to SeaWorld as far as I'm concerned. SeaWorld just went on the road. SeaWorld theme parks traveled this week. They went to Dallas instead. not good. And the Eagles' lack of pass rush is even more concerning. 2 sacks? I get it. Fletcher Cox doesn't have a sack. I mean, I don't think that's that problematic. I mean, Aaron Donald just got his first sack last night. Teams are game planning to stop him. But, I mean, you don't have another decent D tackle next to him. You done lost Malik Jackson, and now you lost Tim Jernigan for an extended period of time. I mean, Derek Barnett's getting good pressure on the quarterback. He's not getting any sacks. I mean, teams know that they have to throw the ball quick against the Eagles because they have a very good pass rush. So that only makes sense. No one's going to hold the ball against them and expect to get the ball off when you have the type of pressure that they can get on the quarterback. But it just doesn't look good. And Ronald Darby, man, you're the number 1 corner, and you're getting roasted. You're getting scorched. I mean, this secondary, there's no way the Eagles could contend with this secondary. I'm just being honest. There's no way the Philadelphia Eagles could contend with this secondary. A cornerback rotation? What other team do you know that has a cornerback rotation? There's a number 1 corner, there's a number 2 corner. There is no rotation. People have firm responsibilities, especially in the secondary. If you are rotating in the secondary, that means you don't have one. At corner, that means you just don't have a secondary. 1 minute, Ronald Darby and Rasul Douglas are starting. 1 week, Rasul Douglas and Sidney Jones are 1 week, Ronald Darby and Sidney Jones are starting. I mean, then Sidney Jones is interchanging with Avonte Maddox in the slot. I mean, come on, man. You got to decide on your best corners. Put whoever out there is best. What are you going to do once Jalen Mills has come back? What are you doing once he comes back? If I'm the Philadelphia Eagles, I'm getting on the phone with Jacksonville right now and giving them whatever it takes to get Jalen Ramsey. Because maybe if you put Ronald Darby on the number 2 receivers and roll coverage his way, maybe you could force teams to hold the ball or quarterbacks to hold the ball a little longer so you get some pressure and get some sacks. Jalen Ramsey's the best cornerback in the league. I don't care what the Philadelphia Eagles have to do to get Jalen Ramsey. Give up the whole 2020 draft class if you have to. The 1st, the 2nd, the 3rd, the 4th, the 5th, the 6th, the 7th. I don't care what you have to do. Give up whatever it takes to get Jalen Ramsey. He's the best corner in the league. Physical press man corner, elite speed, elite length, good tackler, something the Eagles cornerbacks don't know how to do, tackle, especially Ronald Darby. Good in man and zone. Has great ball skills, an all-pro receiver and a Pro Bowler, 6'1", 6'2", can cover any receiver. I mean, you gave up 6 receptions for 101 yards to Marvin Jones. I mean, he's decent. He ain't good. He ain't that good. Got him out here looking like Julio. I'm concerned about the Philadelphia Eagles, man. I'm concerned. And we got a short week this week playing Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers and their defense. I keep trying to tell my brother Ari, the Packers defense was going to be legit this year, and they're looking like it. I'm going to touch on them later, but it's not looking good. The Philadelphia Eagles can't afford to go down 1-3 or be 1-3 in the first quarter of the season. They can't afford to do that because they don't look like a contending team right now. And if they lose to the Green Bay Packers, it's not gonna get good. It's not gonna look good. But these receivers have to help out Carson Wentz. They have to. They have to catch the ball. Or the Eagles need to be praying that Deshaun Jackson and Alshon Jeffrey come back as soon as possible. Because these receivers, they're just not living up to their billing. They've been drafted high, and they're just not doing anything for us right now. But I'm going to move on. Touch on these Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, like I already said, I thought the Pittsburgh Steelers season was over the minute Ben Roethlisberger went down. But Mason Rudolph yesterday, 14-27, 174 yards, 2 touchdowns and interception. Steelers lose to the 49ers 24-20. And Mason Rudolph wasn't really all that impressive to me. I get it. He threw a long touchdown pass to Juju for 76 yards. And he threw another one to Deontay Johnson for 39 yards. But other than that, he only had 59 yards on the rest of his throws, which isn't impressive at all. I like that the coaching staff finally benched Moncrief, so he's got to get back in the good graces of Mike Tomlin and the coaching staff before he even gets back on the field. Ryan Switzer didn't play yesterday. I have a problem with Jalen Samuels playing 14 snaps and not getting any carries, not any touches of the football. With the way James Conner's looking right now, he doesn't look good at all. The Steelers don't look like they have any semblance of a running game. They don't look like they have anything. And this is supposed to be one of the top O-lines in the league. And they don't look like they could run the football at all. I mean, I get why not Seattle. The 49ers were loading the box with 7-8 guys, daring you to throw on the outside. But I have a bigger issue. Mason Rudolph looked suspect yesterday, but it was his first start yesterday, so I got to give him somewhat of a pass. But the one person I can't give a pass to is Randy Fichtner, because he just doesn't. His offense just looks rudimentary. It looks elementary. It looks basic. I mean, you don't have Antonio Brown, you don't have Le'Veon Bell, you don't have Ben Roethlisberger. Do you just not have a system? Do you not have a system, or are you not calling the right plays, or can you not scheme guys open? Are you expecting these young receivers to get open just on sheer talent? Because you don't have A+ talent at the receiver position anymore. Antonio Brown's gone. Juju's getting number one corners. I mean, Randy Fichtner, there's some questions about whether he has the ability to coach or not. It's looking like Ben Roethlisberger is the offensive coordinator the way this offense looks. It doesn't look like Randy Fichtner has any innovative play calls or any innovative schemes. He's not scheming anybody open. Like, he's just telling receivers to line up and go beat their man. You're not calling any bunch formations, any stack formations, any tight formations. Try to get some pick routes or rub routes. I mean, the Seahawks were daring you to throw. They're just lined up in one-on-one coverage. The whole game, mostly. They're stacking the box because they don't want James Conner to get loose. So the Steelers can use play action. Not like they use it that much anyways. We use the least amount of play action over the last 3 years. You weren't helping Mason Rudolph dissect the coverages either. You weren't using any pre-snap motions. You weren't, just using any type of indicators to get the 49ers to reveal what coverage they're in. You're just expecting them to line up and just read the defense. This is a guy making his first start, and you set him up. You're not setting him up for success. This coaching staff is repeatedly not putting players in positions to succeed. Repeatedly. And I'm talking about on both sides of the ball. I mean, Randy Fichtner and his offense on third down in the first 3 games are 9 of 35. He went 3 of 12 yesterday. They went 3 of 11 versus Seattle, and they went 3 of 12 versus New England. 9 of 35 in your first 3 games. 25.7% on third down. That's got to be the worst in the league. Steelers traded away that first round pick. I didn't think they were going to pick a quarterback anyways, even if they did end up in the top 5, the top 10. They weren't going to pick a quarterback anyways because they're tired of Ben Roethlisberger. They gave him an extension. He's going to make over 20 to 30 million. So there's no way you're getting out from under that. Especially not after you took a cap hit of 21 million to get rid of Antonio Brown. You can't take another $20 million cap hit, and you already don't have that much cap space, projected cap space going into the next year. You're going to have about $4 million. So you're kind of stuck. I don't have a problem with them giving up the first round pick for Minkah Fitzpatrick, because he had instant impact yesterday. Defense looked great. Not good, great. I felt bad for him. They played over 75 plus snaps, but they got a little taste of what it feels like to be the offense. The amount of times the offense used to score 30 points and the defense couldn't get a stop. Well, defense forced 5 turnovers and offense couldn't score. Offense scored 6 points off of 5 turnovers. That's your offense was just offensive yesterday. Frankly, it was just offensive. Minkah Fitzpatrick had instant impact. A forced fumble, and he had a pick. 5 tackles, a pass defense. He looked great yesterday. He looked great. Devin Bush's all around the ball, recovered 2 fumbles. He's recovered 3 on the season already. But man, oh man, this rush defense, though, that is a problem area of concern. Seattle ran for over 150 yards last week, and this week Pittsburgh got ran over for 168 yards on 40 attempts by the 49ers. Rush D looks questionable. If you can't stop the run, you can't force teams in obvious passing situations. So that's not going to be good. And then you have Mark Barron with a key holding penalty that would have gotten the Steelers off the field on 3rd down and 11. He held George Kittle. A play he really didn't even need to do because the safety was already on the inside. He had inside help. He didn't need to hold the guy. He didn't need to hold George Kittle. I get George Kittle is an unstoppable tight end. But he didn't need to hold him. He had inside leverage. He had the safety inside helping him. He didn't need to hold. That was automatic first down. And ultimately, that was the game right there. I've got questions. I just got too many questions about this coaching staff overall. I mean, Keith Butler, he looked good yesterday, but that's only because the defense forced 5 turnovers. I still don't believe in Keith Butler. I definitely don't believe in Randy Fichtner. His offense is nothing to brag about. I mean, you see Sean McVay scheming guys open. You see Kyle Shanahan scheming guys open. You see Sean Payton scheming guys open yesterday, and he had Teddy Bridgewater. I mean, if you're Randy Fichtner, what are you doing? What are you doing? You have the same amount of weapons that the New Orleans Saints have. At least their main weapons. I'm not saying James Conner is as good as Alvin Kamara, but he's a Pro Bowler. Juju Smith-Schuster's a Pro Bowler just like Michael Thomas is. And yet, Sean Payton finds creative ways to get them the ball. Why can't Randy Fichtner do the same? You're an offensive coordinator. That means you know offense, or at least I hope that you do. Why can't you get guys open? I get Sean Payton's offensive genius. I'm not saying you have to be an offensive genius, but I would hope that you have some type of innovation to get guys open in today's passing league. You can't get your playmakers the football? I mean, come on. They're selling out to stop the run. 8 guys in the box, you still want to run it. You want to throw tight end screens to Xavier Grimble. Xavier Grimble, bro? He's nothing to brag about. You don't have great weapons right now. You have James Washington, who's basically starting for his first year ever. Deontay Johnson's a rookie. And Juju Smith-Schuster, this is his first year being a number 1 receiver. But this offensive line has to do better because they have 3 Pro Bowlers from last year. David DeCastro, Alejandro Villanueva, and Marquise Pouncey. All have been or were Pro Bowlers. I mean, come on, man. Steelers need to get it together. You got Cincinnati on Monday night. Hopefully you can win that game, but it doesn't look like the Steelers are going to be able to win many games this year. And it feels like this coaching staff just doesn't put players in positions to succeed. If you can't do that, then everybody needs to be gone. I don't care that Ben Roethlisberger's hurt. That doesn't help you escape accountability. You have to show that you can coach. Elite coaches show that they can coach. I mean, this all falls under Mike Tomlin, but I'm looking specific. Mike Tomlin's specialty is defense. So that's the part that I'm really looking at him for. Randy Fichtner is the offensive coordinator, and he hasn't done anything in these first 3 games to inspire us into thinking that he's going to have some type of prolific offensive attack, or at least an offense that could generate some points. I mean, you can't move the ball. I mean, basically when you get to 3rd down, you can't convert. 25.7%. I mean, this doesn't look good right now. This doesn't look good. Steelers don't look good on any front. I'm not expecting them to look spectacular because Ben Roethlisberger's out. But I at least expect you to look respectable. At least put up a fight. I mean, you only lost by 4 points, but I mean, three of the 49ers turnovers were their own doing. I mean, this just doesn't look good right now for the Pittsburgh Steelers. It just doesn't. I'm concerned. I'm really concerned. I want to get to the division outlook. AFC East. Patriots, of course, are 3-0. What a surprise. Don't play a playoff team until the second half of their schedule. Bills 3-0. That's a shock, but I mean, do we really expect the Bills? Do we really expect the Bills to keep this up? I mean, Sean McDermott, he has a good defense, and Tre'Davious White had 2 interceptions yesterday. Their defense is legit, but I just don't believe in Josh Allen. I know he's got a big arm, but come on. We know that Josh Allen is not going to beat the New England Patriots, not with the defense that they have. New England's defense just plays together. They're the true definition of 11 guys. Then they don't have any superstars on their defense other than Stephen Gilmore, he's the second best corner in the league to me. He ain't better than Jalen Ramsey, sorry. But, I mean, they have Jamie Collins. He's been in their system before. Dante Hightower. Don't have any stars on the D-line, but do you need any stars on the D-line when you're playing Josh Allen, whoever the Jets quarterback is, and the Miami Dolphins? You don't need to sign any pass rushers. You have the genius of Bill Belichick to get pressure. You don't need any pass rushers in this division. So New England's smart for not overpaying for any pass rushers. That's why they let Trey Flowers go. But I just don't trust the Bills. I don't trust that they're going to keep this up. We already know there's only one team coming out this division. So we don't even need to waste our time with that. Dolphins, they just got stomped again. It is what it is. I mean, what can you say about this team, man? They're just hard to watch. They're just embarrassing. I mean, I don't even want to speak on them. They're not even, I don't even think they're in my top losers for this week because they don't even deserve it. They don't even deserve it. I mean, they looked better yesterday with Josh Rosen than they did with Ryan Fitzpatrick. I'll give them that, but they're the Miami Dolphins. What can you expect? Not much. NFC East, Cowboys are 3-0. Eagles, Giants are 1-2, and Redskins are 0-2. I expect them to be 0-3 by the end of the night. Cowboys look impressive. I mean, they played nobody either, but they're beating who's in front of them, and they've beaten them soundly. That's for sure. Eagles, they're all over the place. They got questions at wide receiver. The running game is still a question mark to me, even though they ran it effectively yesterday. Corners, the secondary is just a big question mark. So, I mean, Eagles got a lot of problems they need to iron out, and they got a short week playing on Thursday Night Football against Green Bay, so it's not looking good for them. Giants, Daniel Jones looked impressive yesterday. I'm going to touch on him later. Redskins, they got Case Keenum at quarterback, so, I mean, what else do you want me to say? It's Case Keenum. I mean, come on now. Ravens played a relatively decent game, but lost to the Kansas City Chiefs. I expect them to lose that game. Browns just don't look impressive at all on any front. Browns look like the hype is too big for them. I don't know why they got the most primetime games in the league. I mean, I understand why, but for a team that hasn't made the playoffs in so long, I mean, come on. I mean, Freddie Kitchens does not look like a good coach right now. Everybody that picked them to go to the playoffs, I mean, they're probably retracting those statements now because they don't look impressive. Defense looks legit with Myles Garrett, Olivier Vernon, and those boys. Denzel Ward, TJ Carey had an interception yesterday. Mac Wilson looks good. Myles Garrett's an elite pass rusher. But overall, I mean, Baker Mayfield just looks suspect. I like Baker Mayfield. I think he's a franchise quarterback, but yesterday he looked suspect. And Freddie Kitchens looks even more suspect with his play calls. On 4th and 8, you call a draw. And Baker Mayfield's throwing off his back foot a lot the whole game. You can't even get enough velocity and power on your throws if you're throwing off your back foot, but that means he's getting pressured a lot. And hey, that's one of the question marks I had going into the season about the Browns was their offensive line. I mean, granted, you're playing Aaron Donald and Dante Fowler and those boys, but you trade away one of the best pass blocking guards in the league in Kevin Zeitler. You can't get the football to people if your O-line can't block long enough. It doesn't matter how many elite receivers you have. It don't matter if you got Njoku, Odell Beckham, Jarvis Landry, Nick Chubb. It don't matter if you got them guys. If you can't get the ball to them, if your O-line can't hold up long enough for you to throw it, none of that's going to matter. Ravens still look like the team in this division. The Bengals, you can't believe in them, but someone's got to win between them and the Pittsburgh Steelers on Monday Night Football next week, so I guess that'll be interesting. Packers are 3-0. I expected them to be 3-0. Lions, I still don't believe in them. They haven't won a playoff game since 1957, so I still don't believe in Matthew Stafford. He's overrated to me. Kirk Cousins. I mean, Dalvin Cook will look good yesterday. You can tell the Vikings just don't believe in Kirk Cousins. He's probably going to be gone whenever they can get rid of him. Bears, I expect them to be 2-1 at the end of the night. Not a big believer in Mitch Trubisky, and you can tell that the Bears don't really believe in Mitch Trubisky either. They do a lot of window dressing on offense as far as pre-snap motions and screens, and, they don't really do much with throwing the ball down the field. A lot of back shoulder throws, a lot of throws to the tight end, throws to the running back, Tariq Cohen. But the Bears, their defense is elite, but I just don't believe in the Bears because they have Mr. Trubisky at quarterback. So, I believe in Matt Nagy as a coach because he's a good play caller. But other than that, you're just not inspired. But this division looks like it's going to be a tough division. At least right now it does. It looks like every team is going to at least have 2 wins in this division by the end of the week. So that should be something to be impressed by. AFC South, Colts. Colts are looking relatively impressive. They still had a good roster. Even though Andrew Luck retired, you still had your defense that looked relatively good last year. You still have Marlon Mack. Your offensive line's good with Quentin Nelson. Those boys up front, Ryan Kelly. Jacoby Brissett looks relatively good. But Frank Reich, he's shown that he's a pretty good coach right about now. He's shown that he's a really good coach right about now because he's got these boys 2-1. Jags, Jalen Ramsey wants out. Telvin Smith took a year off. Gardner Minshew, he looked impressive, but we'll see how long that continues. Nick Foles is out. Jags looked impressive against the Tennessee Titans, but it's a divisional game, so I can only take it with a grain of salt. But, their defense is still elite. But, we'll see how that looks once Jalen Ramsey gets traded because he called in sick today. I think that's more to do with the fact that he doesn't want to play for the Jags anymore, specifically Tom Coughlin. So we'll see how long that lasts, but Jags are 1-2. Texans 2-1. Deshaun Watson's a superstar. I don't care what anyone says. The fact that the Bears took Mitch Trubisky over Deshaun Watson, and also Patrick Mahomes was in that draft. The fact that they took him over Deshaun Watson. Imagine if Deshaun Watson was on the Chicago Bears right now. Do you know what type of trouble the rest of the NFC would be in? And what a special battle it would be to see him and Aaron Rodgers going up in that division instead of Mitch Trubisky. That'd be something special to see. Quarterback battles for at least the next 6 to 7 years. But instead, he's on the Texans. He's got DeAndre Hopkins. Still got J.J. Watt and Whitney Merciless. Texans got back on track after, slow start. Lost a heartbreaker in New Orleans and then barely beat the Jags. But I expect the Texans to still win this division. I don't expect the Colts to keep this up. I expect the Colts to probably come in second. Titans, it's Marcus Mariota, man. He's just not that impressive. He's just not that impressive. He has limitations throwing the football. It's just that simple. Their defense is legit. If they had a real quarterback, you could believe in them. It's not like Marcus Mariota doesn't have weapons. Got Tajay Sharp. Got Corey Davis. Got Delaney Walker. Got Derrick Henry, a relatively decent offensive line. That's the thing. People want to get on the Pittsburgh Steelers about having a potential top 5 pick, but Jameis Winston and Marcus Mariota were the first and second picks in the 2015 draft, and look at them. Drafting a quarterback in the first round don't guarantee you no success. Marcus Mariota and Jameis Winston, they're just, You don't want either of these guys. They're not franchise quarterbacks. So I don't even want to hear that narrative anymore about the Minkah Fitzpatrick trade. Anyways, NFC South, Saints are 2-1. Sean Payton looked good yesterday, but Saints look good overall. Defense got a defensive touchdown. They got a special teams touchdown. Teddy Bridgewater, he's not going to beat himself. He's relatively a game manager. Alvin Kamara, 161 total yards. Alvin Kamara is one of the top backs in the league. Don't care what no one says. Saints have a relatively decent defense. If the Saints if Teddy Bridgewater can win 3 games, he's already won 1. I didn't think they would beat Seattle. I thought their season was over too once they lost Drew Brees. But if Teddy Bridgewater can win 3 games, If they can just go 500 in these games that Drew Brees is out. Oh, Drew Brees get the Saints to the playoffs. Make no mistake about it. Because the rest of this division doesn't even look impressive. The Bucks just doing what the Bucks do, losing on a field goal, kicker problems. Panthers finally won a game. Luke Falk threw for 4 touchdowns. Looked impressive, but we know at some point when Cam's healthy, he's going to come back in, and we don't know what that's going to be. That's going to be a mixed bag of results because he's inconsistent throwing the football. And the Falcons, there's just something about the Falcons that always seems to be missing. It's like they have so much talent on both sides of the ball. You have Julio, you have Calvin Ridley, Mohamed Sanu, you have Austin Hooper, a good offensive line. You have Devontae Freeman. And then on defense, I mean, their defense isn't that bad. I mean, they have talent on defense. Devondre Campbell and Deion Jones in the middle. They're relatively undersized, but I mean, they have speed, and you have Dan Quinn as the coordinator. You got Grady Jarrett in the middle. Desmond Trufant, Keanu Neal, Ricardo Allen. I mean, you have good people, good players on defense. You have good players on both sides of the ball. It just seems to be always something missing with the Atlanta Falcons. I don't know what it is, but it just seems like there's always something missing, so you can't really trust them. AFC West Chiefs, I expect them to go to the Super Bowl. 3-0, of course. Patrick Mahomes looks like he's going to have back-to-back MVPs on his resume after the year is over. Raiders, I never believed in them that much anyways. Broncos, they're 0-3. John Elway just needs to step away from picking quarterbacks because he doesn't know how to pick quarterbacks. He keeps trying to choose these big, strong-arm guys because he was one of those guys, but you haven't had a quarterback in a long time, and that's the only indictment you can really put on John Elway is choosing the quarterback position. He probably should stop doing that. You've had Joe Flacco and Trevor Siemian, Brock Osweiler. Other than when Peyton Manning willingly came to your organization, you haven't had a quarterback. Kyle Orton, It's like John Elway has something against the smaller quarterbacks. I mean, you see Russell Wilson succeeding. Baker Mayfield had a relatively good rookie year. I expect Kyler Murray to be a star at some point. He just is on the worst team in the league and has the worst O-line in the league. Got Christian Kirk out here dropping deep balls. But I don't know what John Elway's looking at. He's passed up on a lot of good quarterbacks. I hope Drew Lock is his guy. Keep choosing these big, strong guys, but they're not panning out. Apparently, you evaluate something differently. And then these Chargers, man. I mean, you just can't believe in the Chargers. I mean, they have so much talent, man. They got 2 elite pass rushers, Joey Bosa and Melvin Ingram. You got an elite quarterback. You got Keenan Allen. You got Mike Williams. And just for some reason, and you got Hunter Henry. And on defense, you got Casey Hayward. You got Desmond King. When Derwin James ultimately comes back, you'll have him. He's probably the best strong safety in the league already after 1 year. But it's just for some reason, man, these Chargers, man, they're another team like the Atlanta Falcons. They have a lot of talent, but you just can never believe in them. You just can't. And I don't know what it is. But Phillip Rivers always comes up short. Before he made the playoffs last year, he missed the playoffs 7 of the last 8 seasons. And I don't want to hear that he didn't have that much talent. Because he did. You just can't believe in these Chargers, man. They must be enjoying the LA sunshine a little too much because they're certainly not winning football games. But let me get to my top 5 winners. Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones looked impressive yesterday. He looked stellar. The Giants looked like a different team with him yesterday at quarterback. And he led an 18-point comeback on top of that in his first start. I mean, forget Eli Manning. Trade him if you can. Forget him. 23 of 36, 336 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 rushing touchdowns. I get the Tampa Bay Bucks aren't that impressive, but for a rookie, this was good. This was good stuff. This kid looks good. Looks like the Giants have a legit quarterback. He looks legit. It's only 1 game, so I don't want to overreact, but he looks legit. And Todd Bowles is an aggressive D coordinator who throws a lot of exotic blitzes at you, zone blitzes, man blitzes, dropping D linemen into coverage and whatnot. I mean, he was making a lot of throws yesterday. It was impressive. Daniel Jones looked real good yesterday. Second top winner, the Bills. Still don't believe in the Bills, but I have to give them respect. David Singletary looks good in their rushing attack. They have a good D with Sean McDermott. Overall, they're 3-0, so I can't knock that. Bills, I mean, They're shocking me right now. They're definitely shocking me. I didn't expect, I don't expect one team to come out of the AFCs, but right now the Bills look relatively impressive. I must say that. I must say it. Third winner, Sean Payton. Sean Payton's an offensive genius, and it's time that, we respect this man as a coach of the New Orleans Saints. Sean Payton, and he just got a contract extension last week before they played the Rams. But Sean Payton's an elite coach. Great play caller. Just knows how to get guys open, knows how to scheme guys open. He adapted to the modern ways in the NFL, the passing league. I get it, he's had an elite quarterback, but he won yesterday with Teddy Bridgewater. I find that to be very impressive considering Teddy Bridgewater is the prototypical game manager other than Alex Checkdown Smith. Sean Payton, he just knows how to develop a great game plan, and he knows and his players executed very good on both sides of the ball. Sean Payton's an elite coach, top 5 coach in this league, and he deserves respect. Saints, if they can win 2 more games, which looks entirely plausible when you have Sean Payton the coach. If they can win 2 more games, they'll be in business with Drew Brees coming back. If you go 3-3 with Drew Brees out potentially 6 games, they can make it into the playoffs and they can make some noise. Saints are still a Super Bowl contender. 4th winner, Dalvin Cook, 16 rushes yesterday, 110 yards, a touchdown. Dalvin Cook, it looks like one of the best running backs in the league these first 3 games of the season. Had 174 against the Falcons. He got 100 yards against the Packers, but he had a long run. But Dalvin Cook, if he could avoid injuries, he's explosive. He is explosive. He's physical. He can break tackles. He can shake you. Good feet. Good contact balance and good leverage. Knows how to square his shoulders behind the line. He could power through you. He can beat you to the edge. Dalvin Cook looks like he's going to have a big year. And if he can stay healthy, because that's been the knock on him is he's been getting hurt. But if he can stay healthy, man, oh man, he's going to have a big year. Dalvin Cook looks special. My 5th winner is the Steelers D / the Packers D. As you guys know, I've criticized the Steelers defense a lot on these first 2 episodes before these. But yesterday, they showed up yesterday. Got 5 turnovers. That's the best I've seen the Pittsburgh Steelers play defense in a long time. They folded in the second half, but, they played they probably played over 80 snaps. So, I can't really fault you too much when your offense can't convert a 3rd down to save their lives. So, that was impressive. Steelers got some good young cornerstones on defense now at all 3 levels, which I'm very excited about going into the future. You got TJ Watt on the D line. You got Devin Bush in the middle of the field, a middle linebacker, and you have Minkah Fitzpatrick in the secondary who could play multiple positions. That's very good that you have a good young budding star at each of the 3 levels of the defense. That's key. That is very key. You have a star pass rusher, middle linebacker who could clean up and cover and rush. And you have a versatile safety who can play slot corner, both safety spots, a little outside corner. That's good. I like what they're doing. But the Packers defense, once again, I think it's the 3rd time they made it in the top winners. Packers defense, once again, just wreaking havoc. Darnell Savage had an interception yesterday. I liked him coming out of Maryland. Versatile safety. Jaire Alexander, he's going to be an elite corner in this league. Yesterday had a forced fumble. He just knows he just makes plays on the ball, whatever it is. He takes the ball away when he's trying to tackle you. He punches the ball out. He gets interceptions. He makes pass breakups. He's got a quick twitch. He's good in man coverage, good play recognition in zone coverage, good awareness. Knows how to tackle. Knows how to play the ball effectively, knows how to play the man effectively. And Preston Smith, also a good free agent addition for the Packers, had a forced fumble yesterday. The Packers defense is legit. They're legit. They have talent at all 3 levels too. They're legit. Adrian Amos on the back end with Darnell Savage. You got Tramon Williams still playing pretty good. You have Jaire Alexander, Preston Smith, Zadarius Smith. You got Kenny Clark in the middle, Blake Martinez, Jake Ryan. This defense is legit. They're fast, and Mike Pettine's got these boys playing aggressive and physical. Aaron Rodgers has a legit defense. He has a legit defense. This defense is nasty. I thought they would be. I like what they've done in the draft the last 3 years. They have a nasty defense. I like it. Let me get to my top 5 losers, though. Buccaneers. This is the reason you can't believe in the Buccaneers, because they find a way to lose. Losing, missing a field goal. What other way would they lose? Shocker, surprise. And you lose to a rookie? I mean, this is a good look for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but I don't really have that many expectations for them anyways. And this was actually when Jameis Winston had a good day. How do you lose when Jameis Winston had a good day throwing the football? Man, oh man. I still don't think Jameis is going to last in Tampa Bay. But, I mean, yesterday Tampa Bay's defense how do you give up that many points to a rookie? How do you give up 30 plus to a rookie making his first start? I mean, Todd Bowles, man. You're a veteran defensive coordinator in the NFL. How do you give up 30 plus to a rookie? That wasn't a good look at all. Eagles, easy second loser. They're supposed to be a Super Bowl contender, and they look terrible right now. Wide receivers can't catch the ball. Over 7 drops yesterday. 7 drops at least that I counted, but probably more than that. Defense just can't get any pressure on the quarterback. Secondary looks atrocious. Philadelphia Eagles don't look impressive right now. And there are a lot of people's pick to go to the Super Bowl. And even Bleacher Report said they're the most flawless team. Right now, they don't look flawless. They look like there's a lot of holes that could be poked in them. Pro Football Focus had this offensive line rated the best offensive line, and they had our receiving core rated the best. Well, I don't see it. If their receiving core is the best, why are they dropping so many passes? I get Alshon and D-Jack are out, but the Eagles are supposed to be a team that has quality depth. Well, these guys aren't making plays. I mean, Carson Wentz can only do but so much. He can throw you the ball. He can't catch it, too. He's throwing you the ball in stride. Catch the ball. What else are you getting paid to do? Well, you may get paid like, what, $1,000 to block maybe every occasional run play, but you're getting paid millions of dollars to catch the ball. Catch the ball. These Eagles receivers, man, it's just... If the Eagles could get Jalen Ramsey, that'd be great. If they could ship Nelson Aguilar over to Jacksonville and get Jalen Ramsey, that would just make it even better. That would make it even better. Because I can't take any more Nelson Aguilar. He already done cost us 1 game this year dropping the ball against the Atlanta Falcons. And then J.J. Arcega-Whiteside dropped another potential game-winning touchdown. I mean, someone's got to give Carson Wentz some help out here. Someone's got to do it. Some of these receivers got to step up. Chargers are my third loser. You just can't believe in this team. I mean, they got stomped by Tom Brady last year in the playoffs, and the Chargers, you just cannot believe in these guys. You just can't. I mean, Phillip Rivers, when are you going to get it done? You throw for all these yards, all these touchdowns, but where are you in the playoffs? Where are you when it counts? You don't show up. There's always a problem with the Chargers. If it's not the kicking, it's the defense. If it's not the defense, then it's the offense. If it's not that, then it's someone fumbling the ball. Right now, Melvin Gordon is probably looking a little smiling right now because the Chargers are struggling. I get it. You have Austin Eckler and Justin Jackson run the football, but they're not Melvin Gordon. Melvin Gordon may not be one of the elite backs like a Saquon, Alvin Kamara, a Zeke, a Le'Veon Bell. But he's good. He's one of the top backs in the league. He's a top 10 back. He ain't a great back, but he's, that second tier echelon. Might need to look about getting him in uniform and start paying him some money. Because right now the Chargers look like their season could go awry very quickly. Because the Chiefs aren't playing around. They're 3-0. Patrick Mahomes is not playing around. Ferrari Mahomes, that boy ain't playing. He's the best quarterback in the league. I don't care what anybody says. I don't want to hear nothing about Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Drew Brees. Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in the league right now. Right now. This man's arm talent is second to none. This is probably the greatest thrower of football we've ever seen in our lives. That boy could throw it across his body, could throw it Could make no look throws. He's got a cannon of an arm. He can launch that thing and look like 100 yards. Easy. He flings that thing without any effort. I get it. He has Andy Reid as his play caller, but he could fling the football in college. I watched him at Texas Tech. He looked impressive, especially that game against Oklahoma where him and Baker Mayfield duked it out on a Saturday night. He ultimately lost the game, but it was impressive to watch. This guy could throw the football. Chargers better get together because Patrick Mahomes ain't letting up. Fourth loser, Josh Rosen. I mean, you just can't help but feel bad for this guy. I mean, I can't help but feel bad for him. If no one else does, I feel bad for Josh Rosen. Let's just remember this. Josh Rosen was drafted by the Arizona Cardinals a year ago with the 10th overall pick. And then the Arizona Cardinals proceed to have the worst receiving core and the worst O-line in the league and proceed to get the number 1 overall pick again. And they chose Kyler Murray over him. I would have done the same because I'm a Kyler Murray believer. They traded him to Miami, and now Miami's the worst team in the league, and they're tanking. I mean, talk about just a terrible start to your career. You get drafted by the worst team in the league, or what proceeds to be the worst team in the league in the Arizona Cardinals with the worst O-line, and then you go to Miami and they trade you there, and you're on the worst team in the league again with no help around you. I mean, what is Josh Rosen supposed to do? Can we even find out about this guy? They're going to ruin his career before we can even find out whether he's a franchise quarterback or not. I mean, I feel bad for this guy. I really do. I really do. I mean, who's he throwing to? Devontae Parker and Kenyon Drake? And where's his protection at? They got rid of Laramie Tunsil, got rid of Kenny Stills. You know the Dolphins don't have a defense. As moribund as they are, as pathetic as they are on the defensive side of the ball, they're just stacking picks. And stacking picks ain't a proven method of winning Super Bowls. Ain't no tanking team winning Super Bowls. There's no guarantee you hit on no first round picks. Look how many first round picks the Cleveland Browns have missed on. They don't have anybody from their 2015 and 2016 draft classes. And they had multiple picks in those drafts. Tanking isn't a guaranteed way to success. I mean, you're just setting Josh Rosen up for failure right now. And you know they're going to take a quarterback. They're probably going to take Tua because they're going to be the worst team in the league. So Josh Rosen is coming in another situation where he can't even prove himself. You can't even find out about him because he has nothing around him. The Dolphins are going to get stomped every week. They're going to get stomped every week. Every single week, the Dolphins are going to get stomped. The Dolphins are a disgrace of an organization. They're a disgrace. This is why they haven't done anything in a long time. They haven't had a quarterback since probably Dan Marino. They haven't had a legit quarterback. I mean, you pay Ryan Tannehill all that money for what? Ryan Tannehill wasn't nothing to brag about. You should have got rid of him. Then you bring in Ryan Fitzpatrick, who's played on 7 different teams before your team. You trade for Josh Rosen, but then you trade away all the talent. No one wants to play for this team, and they're in South Beach. Nobody wants to play for the Miami Dolphins. Nobody. I feel bad for him. I just feel so bad. I just feel so bad for Josh Rosen. His NFL career might be over before he even gets a legit shot at being a starting quarterback. Fifth loser, Cleveland Browns. And this is pretty obvious to me. They had all this hype going into the season because they made all these offseason acquisitions. And then you're looking at the talent that they had last year. And then you're just looking at how they ended the year last year. But this is what the Browns fail to understand. You don't get to carry over last season into this season. Everybody starts 0-0. I don't know what the Browns did to deserve 8 primetime games, but that's just ridiculous for a team that was 1-32 before last year in their last 2 seasons. Or 1-31, excuse me. I like Baker Mayfield, but he doesn't look impressive right now. Freddie Kitchens doesn't look impressive right now either as a play caller. Offensive line just can't block anybody. Tennessee was all over Baker Mayfield. New York Jets, they don't have anything, so you can't even expect anything from them. Had Le'Veon looking like he was about to cry on Monday Night Football last week because he didn't have nobody at quarterback. Freddie Kitchens was suspect as a coach, and this is what I was worried about. He's a rookie head coach. He's never coached before. He wasn't a coordinator until they fired Hugh Jackson last year. He wasn't even a coordinator. So you don't give this man responsibility because now Freddie Kitchens isn't just responsible for Baker Mayfield in the offense. He's responsible for the entire team. That's an entirely different responsibility than just coordinating one side of the ball. You're responsible for the game plan on offense and defense. You're responsible for motivating and leading guys now. You're responsible for holding guys accountable. And granted, him and Baker Mayfield took accountability and said it's on them and all that, like you expect. But Browns, they just all the hype and expectations. They were doing a lot of talking in the offseason. Baker Mayfield in the GQ article and all that stuff. Well, look, we're not going to believe in you until you show us something on the field. And yesterday was not a good look. It was not a good look. I didn't think the Browns were going to win the division anyways, but they just don't look. They look. Ugh. They look suspect. They look highly suspect right now. They look highly suspect. But before I get out of here, talk about this Monday Night Football game. Bears, Redskins. I expect the Bears to win this game probably 23-7. I don't expect Case Keenum to really be able to do anything against the Bears defense. The Bears defense just has too much ammunition. I mean, you got the best edge rusher in the league in Khalil Mack. Leonard Floyd looks relatively improved. Akeem Hicks coming up the middle. Danny Trevathan. Roquan Smith. Good young linebacker. Kyle Fuller, one of the best corners in the league. Prince Amukamara on the other side. You still got Eddie Jackson, probably the best ball hawk and safety in the league other than Earl Thomas. I mean, and Mitchell Trubisky, I think he can make enough plays to, win the game. I mean, Case Keenum is probably a better thrower than Mitchell Trubisky, but I just don't believe in Case Keenum that much. I just don't think they have that much talent. I think the Bears defense will at least score a touchdown in this game. Or Tariq Cohen to make a play on special teams to, put the Bears in favorable position to win the game. But the Redskins they just don't have much. So, you can't really believe in them right now. So, that's that. But overall, it was a rough football week again for me. Rough football week. Eagles lost, Steelers lost. Cowboys keep winning. New England looks unstoppable. I like the Chiefs. I mean, I'm not a Chiefs fan. I'm a Patrick Mahomes fan, but I guess that's the only thing I have going for me right now is the Chiefs. The Steelers their season's over. The Eagles, if they don't win on Thursday Night Football, it's not looking good. So, it is what it is, I guess. But I'm gonna get out of here. Appreciate y'all for listening. If y'all have any questions that y'all want me to answer for next week, or if y'all want me to cover a team that I haven't talked about, or if you guys have favorite teams that you want me to talk about, just leave it in the comments. Tell me what you want. Whatever you want to tell me, whatever questions you have or whatever team you want me to talk about, and I'll talk about it in depth, of course. Not going to cheat you guys. Continue to like and subscribe. Appreciate all the people who subscribed already. Remember, this is the AC Podcast, and I appreciate y'all for listening. I'm out.